Welcome to Left Africa.
So, I want you to close your eyes for just a second.
Okay, I am playing along.
All right, so I want you to imagine a nation that is, geographically speaking, actually smaller than the metropolitan area of Atlanta.
Which is pretty tiny when we are talking about global nations.
Right, exactly. We are talking about a volcanic island chain off the west coast of Africa. They have a population of just 600,000 people.
And a total GDP of what, around $2.5 billion?
Yeah, right around there. Now, picture that tiny, tiny nation walking onto the pitch at the 2026 World Cup and completely, utterly shattering the global football hierarchy.
It is genuinely hard to wrap your head around.
It is. So if you love a massive underdog story, but you also want to understand the hidden global mechanics that actually make a story like that possible, well, this deep dive is perfectly tailored for you.
Because it really is easily the most compelling narrative in sports right now. But I would argue it is also a fascinating geopolitical case study.
Oh, absolutely.
Miracles in sports, they are rarely just, magic, even when they feel like it in the moment.
Right. There's always a reason.
Exactly. When you look closely at the data, they're almost always the result of these intersecting variables. Things like shifting migration patterns, economic policies, and just massive structural paradoxes.
I read the stats in our source material today, and honestly, I had to double take. It feels like an actual glitch in the matrix.
It really does defy conventional logic.
Totally. So our mission today is to explore not just what the Cape Verde miracle is, but how a shifting global system accidentally allowed it to happen.
And we have some incredible source material to work with today.
Yes, we are pulling from a really comprehensive dossier that was published today, June 22, 2026, by leftafrica.org.
Which is doing some great work synthesizing everything.
Right. They brought together this incredible on-the-ground reporting from The Guardian, the Associated Press, and the New York Times. And as someone who just loves to see the script get flipped, I mean, this is the most exciting systems-level story of the entire year.
I completely agree. But I think we need to set the stage first by looking at the sheer improbability of Cape Verde's first two matches in Group H.
Please do, because the math is wild.
The statistical disparity is just staggering. I mean, we are talking about a team with absolutely zero previous World Cup appearances.
And none. This is their debut.
Right. And they have roughly 25 professional players scattered across various tiers of European leagues.
Just 25.
Yeah, around that number. And then they get drawn into a group with Spain and Uruguay.
Okay, let's unpack this just to really underline the gap here for anyone who might not follow international soccer closely. Spain won the World Cup in 2010.
They are a traditional juggernaut.
Exactly. They have 47 million people, a GDP of, $1.5 trillion, and about 300 top-tier professional players to choose from.
And then there is Uruguay.
Right. Uruguay has won the World Cup twice, and this is their 14th appearance at the tournament. So to put this in perspective, it is like a local indie band that plays at a coffee shop wandering onto the Grammy stage.
I love that analogy.
Right. And they just outperform Beyonce on Tuesday, and then they do the exact same thing to Taylor Swift on Thursday.
That is practically a literal translation of what just happened over the last week. So let's look at match one.
June 14th, down at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yes. Spain arrived expecting a total formality. They're famous for a style called tiki-taka.
Oh man, tiki-taka. It is beautiful, but brutal.
Exactly. It is this suffocating style of play where a team holds the ball through literally hundreds of short, rapid passes.
It is basically designed to physically and mentally exhaust the opponent. Right?
Yeah.
You just chase shadows all day.
Spot on. Everyone assumed Spain would just use this match as a warm-up, a light training session. And true to form, Spain scored right near the hour mark.
Which is exactly when the whole world assumes, okay, the fairy tale is over, the natural order is restored.
But it wasn't over.
Not at all. Just minutes later, Cape Verde answers. And what I love is that it wasn't some lucky bounce off a defender's knee.
No, it was entirely earned.
Yeah, it was this incredibly hungry, chaotic set-piece scramble. After a free kick, the ball is just bouncing around the penalty box, and Cape Verde literally forces it into the net to draw 1-1.
They took a point off a European giant on their debut.
I mean, the stadium in Atlanta practically shook. But I have to push back here for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
Because heart and hustle, they are great. They really are.
Yeah.
But tactically speaking, How does a team with practically zero top-tier infrastructure hold off a football empire like Spain?
It is a great question.
I mean, Spain's defensive line alone is probably worth more than Cape Verde's entire national budget.
Yeah.
So what is actually happening on the grass?
Well, it comes down to a very specific, highly disciplined tactical approach known as a low block.
Okay, break that down for us.
So instead of chasing Spain's players around the entire field trying to steal the ball, which is exactly what tiki-taka wants you to do.
Because that pulls you out of position,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You leave gaps and they exploit them. So instead of doing that, all 11 Cape Verdean players packed tightly into the final third of the field right near their own goal.
Oh, wow. So it basically creates a human wall.
Yes, an incredibly organized human wall.
And that just turns Spain's beautiful passing game into this frustrating math problem where they have no space to actually solve it.
Precisely. Cape Verde refused to break their formation. They did not try to outpass Spain. They recognized the massive disparity in resources and played a system that completely neutralized Spain's primary weapon.
That is brilliant. But then the real shock came in match 2.
June 21st in Miami, against Uruguay.
Right. Because if Spain was a surprise, Uruguay was supposed to be the violent correction to this whole Cinderella story.
Absolutely. Uruguay is known globally for having world-class, extremely physical defenders.
And ruthless finishers. They were supposed to end the run right there.
But instead, Cape Verde scores first.
Their first ever World Cup goal.
Yes, a header off a set piece against one of the most intimidating defenses in the entire tournament.
Of course, Uruguay roared right back. They scored 2 rapid goals to go up 2-1.
And you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief from all the traditional football powers. The giant was finally awake.
But then we get to the 78th minute.
Ah, yes. The Hélio Varela moment.
Oh man, this just gives me chills even thinking about it.
So Varela is a 22-year-old winger. He plays for FC Porto's B team in Portugal, which is effectively their reserve squad.
Right.
The ball falls to him right on the edge of the Uruguayan box, and he doesn't just smash it and hope for the best.
No, he lines it up perfectly.
He hits this flawlessly struck, bending, unstoppable drive. It beats the keeper right at the near post and rips straight into the top corner.
It equalizes the match at 2-2. I mean, the New York Times literally ran the headline, and I quote, "God is Cape Verdean."
That really captures the level of awe we are talking about here.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, to understand how a tiny island nation survived that absolute onslaught from 2 empires on the pitch, we actually have to step away from the stadium for a minute.
Right, we have to look at the boardroom.
Because none of this happens without a massive structural loophole that let them into the Empire's tournament in the first place. So how did Cape Verde even get the invitation?
Well, the dossier from leftafrica.org breaks this down beautifully. It points directly to the unintended consequences of global sports expansion.
Okay, the 2026 expansion.
Yes, for 2026, FIFA expanded the World Cup from 32 teams to 48 teams. Now, the stated public goal of this expansion was, quote, growing the game globally.
Right, that is always the PR line. But the underlying mathematics were really focused on extracting maximum financial value.
Specifically from the North American market, yes.
Because more teams means 104 matches instead of the traditional 64.
Which is a huge increase in inventory.
Exactly. That translates directly into more broadcast rights, more sponsorships, and literally billions of dollars in revenue flowing primarily from the global north.
Precisely. But let's look at the mechanics of the old 32-team format for a second. Under that system, a tiny nation like Cape Verde was permanently bottlenecked.
Because there just weren't enough spots.
Right. To qualify from the African continent, they had to survive a grueling qualification process against massive established powerhouses.
Nations with huge populations.
Yes, and deep historical footballing infrastructures. We are talking about having to beat out Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, Egypt.
It was basically a nearly impossible mathematical hurdle for a country of only 600,000 people.
But the 48-team expansion completely changed the math. It gave the African continent 9 guaranteed slots, which is up from their previous 5.
And this creates such a fascinating paradox.
How so?
Well, think about it. You have this system designed by FIFA to consolidate wealth.
Right.
To create more lucrative broadcast slots for the massive legacy giants in Europe and South America.
True.
But it accidentally created a backdoor. The algorithm of modern sports capitalism simply failed to account for a tiny island nation coming in and kicking that new door completely off its hinges.
It really is the ultimate corporate backfire.
I mean, it is like a massive corporation throwing open the doors to this really exclusive VIP conference just because they realized, hey, we can sell a few more expensive tickets in the back row.
And then what happens?
Then this entirely uninvited, scrappy little startup walks in, takes over the main stage, and just starts stealing all their top clients.
That is a great analogy.
FIFA rigged the seating to protect the giants, and now they are forced to sit there watching Cape Verde embarrass the exact power brokers the system was built to protect.
It is a brilliant way to visualize the institutional failure. But, FIFA's math only opened the door.
Right.
It takes a very specific type of player to actually walk through that door and hold their own against Spain.
Yeah, you still have to play the game.
Exactly, which is why you really cannot understand this team without looking at a map of where these players actually grew up.
Okay, let's talk about that.
This connects those structural boardroom changes directly to the reality of the global diaspora.
Yes, because this isn't just a story about a changing tournament bracket, is it? It is fundamentally a story about migration.
It absolutely is.
And that makes it this powerful Pan-African symbol that is resonating way beyond just the sports world.
The dossier highlights this perfectly. Cape Verde's squad is heavily drawn from the diaspora in Europe.
Where specifically?
Mostly Portugal, France, and the Netherlands. These are players who were either born in Europe or they moved there when they were very, very young.
Oh, interesting. So they grew up in those systems.
Exactly. They developed in elite European academies. They have been playing in state-of-the-art facilities with top-tier coaching and cutting-edge sports science their entire lives.
Okay, but wait. If they were born in France or Portugal, how do they end up playing for Cape Verde?
That is where the dual eligibility rules come in.
I think we really need to explain that for everyone listening, because that feels like the linchpin of this whole miracle.
It really is. So, under FIFA's current rules, a player can actually choose to represent the country of their parents' or even their grandparents' birth.
Really? As long as what?
As long as they haven't already played a competitive senior match for the country where they were born.
Okay, got it.
So if you have a player born in Lisbon to Cape Verdean parents, they have the right to choose to wear the Cape Verde jersey on the senior global stage.
Like Hélio Varela.
Exactly like Hélio Varela.
He is literally the poster child for this entire phenomenon.
Right.
Because, like you said, he was born in Lisbon. He developed at massive European powerhouses like Benfica and Porto.
Right.
But he utilized that rule to represent his parents' homeland.
And this is the crucial part. When he makes that choice, he brings millions of dollars worth of elite European football education with him to the Cape Verdean national team.
Wow. Which completely circumvents the infrastructure gap we were just talking about earlier.
Stacey, Cape Verde does not need a $1.5 trillion GDP to train their youth because their youth are already being trained by the European giants.
Man, it's like an open source tech startup secretly sending its engineers to train inside Apple's headquarters.
That is exactly what it is like.
They learn all the proprietary secrets, and then they leave to build a better, cheaper smartphone that directly competes with Apple.
It is brilliant.
I mean, even if you have never watched a single soccer match in your life, you have probably seen this dynamic play out in your own industry.
Disruption from the outside.
Yeah, we are basically watching a historically overlooked talent pool leverage elite training and a structural loophole to dismantle the legacy gatekeepers. It is literally a masterclass in disruption.
And the broader message here is just undeniable. The gap between the global north and the global south is shrinking rapidly, and we are watching it happen in real time.
And we are seeing this across African football as a whole, right? This isn't happening in a vacuum.
Not at all. The Left Africa dossier contextualizes this nicely by reminding us of history. We saw Cameroon reaching the quarterfinals back in 1990, then Ghana in 2010, Senegal in 2022. And of course, everyone remembers Morocco's historic run to the semifinals in 2022.
That was unbelievable.
It was. Now, Cape Verde is by far the smallest of all those nations, but they are writing what might be the most dramatic verse of this ongoing story.
And, the cultural impact of that story is just phenomenal to witness. There is this viral celebration happening right now, the boat celebration.
Oh, I have seen the videos. It is incredible.
Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen it, when Cape Verde scores, all the players crouch down on the pitch together and they mimic rowing traditional fishing boats.
Which is a deep, enduring cultural symbol for the islands.
Right. And just the imagery of that playing out on the grass in these massive billion-dollar American stadiums is so incredibly powerful, and it is resonating globally.
The reports in the dossier talk about packed sports bars just erupting.
Everywhere, from Boston to Rotterdam to Dakar. People are seeing themselves reflected on the global stage in a way that, frankly, no corporate marketing department could ever manufacture.
Because it is entirely organic. That is what makes it so incredibly potent. It is a genuine celebration of identity on the biggest stage possible.
It really is.
But, looking ahead, the reality of Group H right now is absolutely nail-biting. We need to look at the actual standings after these first two matches to understand the stakes.
Walk us through the math, because it is really tight, right?
It is razor thin. So currently, Spain sits at the top of the group with 4 points. They secure 1 win and 1 draw.
Okay, Spain at 4.
Cape Verde is miraculously in second place. They drew both of their games, so they have 2 points.
Unbelievable.
Uruguay also has 2 draws, giving them 2 points as well. And Saudi Arabia is currently at the bottom with 1 point from a draw and a loss.
So wait, if Cape Verde and Uruguay both have 2 points, how is Cape Verde in second place? Why aren't they tied?
That comes down to goal difference, which is the primary tiebreaker in the group stage of the tournament.
Okay, remind me how that works.
You calculate it simply by subtracting the total goals a team has allowed from the total goals they have scored. And because Cape Verde managed to score 2 goals against Uruguay, their overall math keeps them just a hair ahead in the standings.
Wow, so basically every single team in this group is still mathematically alive.
Exactly.
Every single one, which means absolutely everything comes down to match 3.
Yes, it does.
And Cape Verde's final group match is against Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia is the lowest ranked team remaining in the group, but they have a population of 35 million.
And massive financial backing in their domestic league.
Right, plus plenty of past World Cup experience. So this is not going to be a walk in the park for Cape Verde.
Not at all. It will be a massive test. But the math for Cape Verde going into this match is beautifully simple, yet absolutely terrifying.
Lay it out for us.
If Cape Verde wins, they almost certainly advance to the round of 32.
And who would they face?
In that scenario, they would likely face a powerhouse from Group A. So we are talking about potentially playing the United States, the Netherlands, or Senegal.
Oh, man. And what if they draw against Saudi Arabia?
Well, if they draw, they plunge straight into a tiebreaker nightmare.
Which nobody wants.
Right. Their fate would depend entirely on the result of the simultaneous match between Spain and Uruguay. We would be looking at goal difference, total goals scored, and potentially even fair play points to decide who advances.
Fair play points.
Yeah.
Like who has fewer yellow cards.
Exactly. It could literally come down to that. And of course, if Cape Verde loses to Saudi Arabia, they go home.
Wow. But you know what? Regardless of the outcome of that final match, it really feels like the landscape has fundamentally changed forever.
I think that is a very fair assessment.
The global attention they have received, the potential for massive new investments, the sheer inspiration for the next generation of players. I mean, the youth development pipeline in Cape Verdean football will never be the same.
No, it won't.
They have completely proven that the impossible is mathematically, tactically, and practically achievable.
The psychological barrier has been broken. That is the biggest takeaway. When a nation of just 600,000 stands toe-to-toe with former world champions, it permanently changes the calculus for every single small nation watching around the world.
It proves that with the right application of diaspora talent and just ironclad tactical discipline, the giants can actually be made to bleed.
Absolutely.
Which actually brings up a really fascinating point to leave you with today.
Oh.
Yeah, before we go, I want you to consider this. Cape Verde just proved that small nations can use European youth academies to build giant slaying squads by utilizing diaspora players.
Which is an amazing strategy.
It is, but it leaves you to wonder, how long until the billion-dollar gatekeepers of European football start lobbying to change those FIFA eligibility rules?
Oh, that is a great question.
Right, just to protect themselves from the very monsters they accidentally created in their own academies.
I would not put it past them at all.
Something to keep an eye on, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the system, and we will see you next time.